Morning guys, welcome back to another What I Eat in a Day. If you're new to my channel, my name is Emily English, also known as Emily Nutritionist. I'm a BSc qualified nutritionist, but I like to think that I make the food you want to eat designed by a nutritionist. So I'm going to take you through a full day of eats, breakfast, lunch and dinner. Let's get started. First things first, I always like to wake up, I hydrate. I basically have my second limb, which is my Stanley cup. Then in my supplement cupboard, I've actually run out of my L-glutamine, but I only take a few things in the morning. Epitome, this is my own brand symbiotic. I absolutely swear by it for my digestive health, my bloating, it helps keep me regular. And then the other thing that I absolutely love is creatine. I take about 5 grams every single day. It's a powder form, so I just take a scoop of that and stick it into my Stanley. Give a little mix. The more simple I keep my supplement routine, the more religious I am with it, so the more I actually stick to it. And that is it. So now it's time to make breakfast. So for breakfast this morning, I'm gonna do something which I haven't done on one of my What I Eat in Days before. It's basically how I build the perfect bowl of oats. I feel like oats have got such a bad rep in the health space. Loads of people just saying they're a terrible breakfast for you. They spike your blood sugar levels. But as always, with any meal, it's really important that when we think of the nutrition, we build it properly. Having the right components in your bowl of oats is going to make the difference between you feeling really nice and sustained, getting in all of those key nutrition points, key fibre types to feed your microbiome, because remember, we're always eating for 2, both you and your microbes. So starting off with the foundation of my porridge, these are my oats of choice. I like to choose the jumbo oats, because jumbo oats are even slower releasing. Instant quick cook oats are a little bit faster to digest, which basically means that you're going to get that rise and peak of your blood sugar levels quicker than if you opt for jumbo oats. And then I'm going to be boosting the fiber further with some milled flax seeds and then also some chia seeds. I'm just going to add these straight into my oats when I cook them. And I find that the flax seeds give a really lovely nutty taste. Also, I always like to incorporate a little bit of cinnamon. Cinnamon is really beautiful for helping regulate blood sugar levels again. And shock, she's bringing out her liquid egg whites. I'm going to show you a hack that you can boost the protein content of your oats without incorporating protein powder. The thing that I'm addicted to at the moment is adding a little bit of my coffee sweetener to this. I know it may sound rogue, but you honestly need the tiniest amount. This is a hazelnut one from Marks and Spencer's. So this is everything that I'm going to be putting into the foundation of my oat base. Portion wise, for me personally, I love about 40 grams of jumbo oats. Tip those oats in. And I'm going to go in and add a teaspoon each of the milled flax seeds and the chia seeds, and about half a teaspoon of ground cinnamon. In true Scottish fashion, I actually like a nice pinch of salt in my oats. I've got the fibre from my oats. I've got the flax seeds, which are another fantastic source of fibre. Also vitamin E, really, really great fats, especially for your skin. Your skin loves flaxseed oil. Chia seeds, plant-based omega-3s, they're also going to help that kind of swelling, gel-like consistency that is going to slow down digestion even further. So a bowl of this is just going to leave you feeling really, really full and really, really satisfied for a long period of time, and just really set you up for your morning. So I'm just going to pop this on to heat. I also like to keep my oats constantly stirring, because oat milk is basically made out of juicing oats. So the oats will naturally release their kind of sweet flavor, their starches. You get that kind of lovely, creamy, milky consistency, but without using milk. Of course, if you like milk in your oats, absolutely add it. You're going to be getting an additional boost of protein. You're also going to be getting a good source of calcium. My oats have now thickened, and what I'm going to do is, okay, trust the process. If someone said to me, I'm going to add egg whites to my oats, I would be like, that's disgusting. But it doesn't taste eggy. It makes it go super creamy almost. And without even using protein powder, I can add 10 grams of protein to this mix. I don't always love the flavor of protein powder. This is such a great hack. And you guys know, if you've watched my other videos, I eat these for breakfast a lot. So I always have them in my fridge. So what you're gonna do is turn off the heat. You don't want scrambled eggs. So you're gonna take your egg whites and you're going to whisk for your life. And you're just going to drizzle in those egg whites. And the residual heat of the oats will cook them. Okay, so my oats are cooked. I've whisked in those egg whites. And now I'm actually just gonna add a tiny little splash of that hazelnut syrup. You literally need the tiniest amount Oh, so good. It literally smells like Nutella. So onto my oats, I always like to add a fat. So that would be a nut butter or whole nuts and seeds. This is actually the Pippa Nut Crunchy Almond Butter. I love almonds. They're super, super high in vitamin E and antioxidants. I also like to add a dollop of really good yogurt. This is the Yo Valley 5% Greek style one. And I love to make my own compote. So I literally get a whole pack of frozen raspberries, chia seeds, heat it up in a pan, little bit of salt. You can also sweeten this, a little bit of honey. It's just a lovely way to be able to, again, boost that fibre content of this breakfast. Pour my porridge into the bowl. You can just see that perfect, thick consistency. This is my perfect bowl of porridge. It's high in fibre, it's high in protein, it's perfectly balanced, it's got complex carbs, it's got all of those lovely antioxidants and healthy fats. I've topped it with proper Greek yogurt, a spoonful of almond butter, that homemade raspberry compote, a few pumpkin seeds, and an extra sprinkling of those milled flax seeds as well. The base has jumbo oats, flax seeds, chia seeds, pinch of salt. I boosted the protein content using some liquid egg white. It's a big portion, it's gonna keep you nice and full, but it's still balanced. Lunch, I'm gonna be making one of my favorite preppable protein mixes. These are basically mixes that I throw together using loads of different ingredients. This is my spicy tuna version, inspired by the famous Joe and the Juice. But the reason why I love these preppable protein fillings is they don't feel too meal preppy because they're really versatile. They hold really well. All I have to do for lunch the next day and the day after is toast up a pita or stick into a wrap, jacket potato. They also work really well as salad toppers. Super, super high in protein. They're so delicious, and I'm going to show you how to make it. So when it comes to meal prep, there are a couple of tips and tricks that you can do to make sure that things hold really well and don't go soggy. And my number one tip is to remove the seeds from your watery veg. Your tomatoes and your cucumber. So the tomatoes, I've just got these lovely little sweet cherry ones. And I'm gonna cut these into quarters. And then just to help remove a little bit of the water from these, I'm just gonna get a piece of kitchen towel. I'm just gonna put the cherry tomatoes onto that kitchen towel, fold it up into a little package, and just kind of give it a little squeeze. And you'll see how much water comes out of these. And then just tip those tomatoes into the bowl. Same thing with the cucumber. I'm gonna do about half a cucumber and then cutting it in half. And then in half again, I'm just gonna get my knife and I'm just gonna run it through just to remove that little watery core. And I like these cucumber pieces to be really nice and kind of small and bite-sized in this recipe. So just chop those up and into the bowl. And then last but not least, some nice spring onions. Someone kept on telling me off for removing too much of the whites of my spring onions, so you'll have to let me know. Is that a better proportion? I make these preppable protein fillings every single week. It's a formula that just works really, really well for me. I love having them stocked up in my fridge. It's the kind of meal prep that actually feels useful. I got so obsessed with these Joe and the Juice spicy tuna sandwiches, and they are not cheap now. So this kind of reminisces all of the flavors that I love about that sandwich. So there's a couple of extra little ingredients that I feel just brings together that spicy tuna feel, but at home. So the Joe and the Juice spicy tuna uses some dill. So I'm just gonna roughly chop some of that. So there's one other ingredient that I like to add to this, and because all of the Joe and the Juice sandwiches incorporate pesto, I actually like to add a little bit of basil to my tuna mix. What I find personally is that this just gives that kind of reminiscent pesto-esque vibe to this, I think is absolutely crucial for replicating this sandwich. So I'm just gonna roughly chop that basil and add to that bowl. The thing that's so great about prep like this is that you'll put that extra little bit of effort into day one, but you'll thank yourself for it on day 2 and 3. So jalapenos, pickled ones in a jar. Normally they just chuck these on top of the sandwich, but because I really want this to be a prep that I just load into one thing, I'm gonna be dicing these up and putting them through the mix. I also feel like you then get the perfect amount of jalapeno with every bite. Sometimes when I have the Joe and the Juice spicy tuna ones, I'll get like all jalapenos on one side and then none on the other. I'm gonna cry about it, but I said it before and I say it again, incorporate more spices into your meals. They're going to stimulate the digestive system, make you feel really full and satisfied. So all of those diced jalapenos add to the mix. A drained tin of tuna. One thing that I love about tuna is that it is a protein that I keep in my store cupboards and it pretty much does not go off. So if I'm ever caught out and I haven't been to the shops and I know that I need to like make a really quick lunch, I can throw something like this together. You don't have to have all the ingredients, but just use pretty much the same formula. So this tin of tuna has over 30 grams of protein in alone. Going back to that kind of pesto feel, I like to add a little bit of garlic granules just to give it that kind of nice garlicky bite. I love garlic granules because A, they're really speedy. I don't have to go and get garlic, peel it, chop it. Lunchtime is all about quick, fast, and easy for me. Now to sauce this up, I'm gonna be using some Greek yogurt, 2 good heaped tablespoons of that, some Tabasco, tiny little pinch of honey, literally a scant teaspoon, and a nice generous pinch of salt. Because we're really doing that kind of pesto flavor, I'm just gonna grate a little bit of Parmesan in here. You don't need a lot. And that is my preparable spicy tuna protein mix with all the flavors of pesto already integrated into it. Every single thing, diced up the jalapenos. I'm now just gonna store in my Blackburn Blum containers. These are my favorite meal prep containers. I do have a code with them, it's M10. I do not work with the brand I asked for this code because I use them every single day. I'm the biggest organic fan. All I'm gonna do is chuck everywhere. All I'm gonna do is spoon that into my container. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my preparable protein mix done. So that would go in my fridge. It would store for about 3 days. You can definitely do 4, but it probably will start to deteriorate a little bit then. The cucumber may not be as nice and crisp. So let's imagine that I've made this and it's tomorrow. So I've gone to my fridge, I've taken out my preparable protein mix. Voila. Let's make lunch. Taking one of my pittas out. The supermarket generic own brand pittas are the only pittas that you should buy. I mean, not the only pittas that you should buy. I'm sure there's much more authentic ones, but for me, these ones are the best. They literally contain nothing other than wheat flour, water, yeast, a little bit of vinegar and salt. That is literally it. I also feel like they're the perfect lunch size. You can also freeze them and you can toast them straight from frozen. So I'll just pop them open if they stuck together and then I'll stick in my air fryer. I've just wet my hands, and a little tip for a really nice fresh pitta taste is just to clap the pitta, would you say? Tap the pitta, clap the pitta, and this just helps kind of hydrate it a little bit. So when I stick into my air fryer to toast, it's just gonna go lovely and perfect. Into my air fryer for about 8 minutes. And during that time, you can make a nice cup of tea or something, or whatever beverage you like to consume with your lunch. So I've taken my pitta out of the air fryer, I've cut it in half, and then just using scissors, I carefully snip them open. I would get my preparable protein mix. If it has separated a little bit, which will naturally happen, so the water will come out, just give it a little mix, and it will all just come right back together again. I added some extra veg onto my plate. I just sliced some extra cucumber, 1/2 of my pitta, a spoonful of that spicy tuna, load them in. I could honestly eat this lunch every day. It's so delicious. And then the leftover filling, I will just pop back into my fridge. I love crisps and a sandwich for lunch. So I'm just gonna get a handful of these little barbecue pop crisps. My lunch beverage of choice today is these cloudy matcha cans. So it's basically matcha with some prebiotic fibres in. This is lemonade flavour, so good. And that is my lunch today. So I've got my spicy tuna preparable protein filling. It's basically homage to Joe and the Juice spicy tuna, which I'm just so in love with. I actually find that when I add a vegetable side like this, it just slows me down eating as well. I'm the kind of person for lunch, I can eat in a rush. So incorporating a few different components can actually just help slow down your pace, means that you don't just wolf down a sandwich really, really quickly. Quick, easy, meal prep that makes sense. It's high protein, it ticks off all of my nutrition boxes, but it's not too big that it's gonna weigh me down, make me feel really sluggish and heavy that I just need that afternoon nap. Delish. My dream lunch. You guys have to make this one. So dinner is a recipe that I actually filmed as a short the other day, and I thought I would just do it long form because it is such a great way if you are craving lasagna but you want a recipe that is quick, simple, easy. The beauty with this is I load all of my vegetables up into my food processor. I quickly blitz them so the prep is really, really speedy. I make a lovely ragu using the chicken mince, all the vegetables, really good quality tomatoes. I tip the gnocchi straight in and then I just top with a single layer of bechamel and then bake in the oven for only about 10 minutes. Leave it to rest and you've got something that feels so comforting, so lasagna coded. So using my handheld mini chopper, I'm gonna fly through this veg prep, but the base of this is gonna be red onion, celery, carrot, courgette, and mushroom. And what I really like about this is that it gives all the vegetables a really nice kind of mince consistency. When you combine them with the chicken mince, you get loads of extra bulk, loads of vegetable diversity, but it also adds so much flavor. People underestimate the amazing flavor that vegetables can actually give to your dish, whilst giving you that wonderful boost of nutrients. So this combined with the tomatoes, 6 types of plants, massive wide range of vitamins and minerals in there. Into my pan a little bit of olive oil, and what I want to do is brown off my chicken mince first. A good pinch of salt to season and crack the black pepper. And then once your chicken mince has started to kind of get that lovely caramelization on the bottom of the pan, just go in mushroom and courgette. And you can just see how much extra volume all of these vegetables go. So if you're thinking about making your more expensive proteins go further, this is just such a brilliant way to get loads of health benefits, but it's also really cost effective. A couple of things to note down: all of these vegetables will release a lot of water. For flavor, it's so important that you cook all of that water out. Be patient, make sure that it all comes out and all evaporates off, because otherwise you're just going to be left with a kind of a soggy, watery ragu, which is just not what you want. As soon as you cook all of this down, all of that water comes out and evaporates, you're going to end up with a delicious ragu that's not only super healthy, but also super yummy. Add a good 2 tablespoons of tomato puree and a sprinkling of oregano, about a teaspoon. And I also like to add some tarragon into this because chicken and tarragon are best friends. I'm just going to start to cook out that tomato puree with a really good tin of quality tomatoes. Fill the tin back up with water and add, and then about 200 grams of passata. Chicken stock cube. Kind of slightly stick a lid on that, leaving a little gap, and leave that to blip away and do its thing. My ragu has been blipping away for about 5 minutes. And this is the beauty. All I'm going to do is add my gnocchi straight into the ragu. Whilst it's still a little bit saucy and reducing down, I'm just going to fold that through. I also actually like to make my bechamel with olive oil, so it's equal parts plain flour to olive oil. Add the olive oil in the flour. And I just want to cook this out, so cook all of the raw flour out for about 3 to 4 minutes. Cold milk. Bit by bit so it doesn't go lumpy. And then a mix of cheddar cheese and parmesan. I've got 60 grams of cheddar and 20 of parmesan. I'm just gonna put probably about 3/4 of the cheese in the sauce. Crack of pepper. Salt. Now it's lasagna assembly time, so get a nice oven-proof dish. This is my gnocchi ragu. I didn't have to get an extra pan to pre-cook the gnocchi or pre-cook any pasta. I could just dump it all in, and I think that's where the beauty lies of this recipe. There's a few small little changes and tweaks that you do to a classic lasagna, like the fact that I don't have to do any layering now. It's literally dump it in, top of the bechamel into the oven. So I'm going to take this nice ragu and spoon it into my dish. No layering now. All I literally need to do is pour over all of that bechamel, spread that gorgeous cheesy sauce all over, and then finish with the rest of that cheese. That is ready to go into the oven. She's a beauty. I have let this rest now. It's really important that you let it rest just for about 5 minutes. This will firm it up and stop it just basically slopping everywhere. I also actually like to serve this with a little bit of a side salad. So I've just got some nice bitter rockets. I'm just gonna drizzle that with a little bit of balsamic. So just set that to one side. Let's do the cut through. I'm so excited to eat this. This is my super speedy gnocchi chicken lasagna. I have so many portions here that are brilliant for leftovers. It really heats up fantastically. I'm serving it with a little bitter rocket side salad. The combination of having those bitter greens with the meal, again, really helps with digestion, feeling full and satisfied. I've got 6 different types of plants in here. I've got that lovely creamy bechamel on top, so low effort. When it comes to making quick lasagna, this for me is the best recipe ever. I love this. Thanks for joining me for this What I Eat in a Day. I hope you love this one. I think this is one of my favorites. These are genuinely meals I make all the time, and I hope it gives you guys some inspiration to mix up the recipes that you try. Hopefully it brings you a good bit of vitamin joy. As always, in the comments, let me know what other videos you'd like me to do. Subscribe to my channel so you get updates for all of my latest videos, and I will see you guys next week.